Generative AI is, in a sense, the second wave of transformative AI that we've experienced over the past few decades. And that first wave was really around ranking systems. And so you're thinking here about Google's search, Facebook, YouTube's recommendations, TikTok. All of this is around choosing sort of the ranking of information that was already created by people. And this seems like a small thing. It's just ranking a set of items. But when you're ranking everything that humanity has created, that actually affects the incentives of politicians, of entertainers, of journalists. You're now restructuring society just by that simple act of ranking, because you're ranking for billions of people every day, all the time. The second wave is where we go beyond ranking to actually generating that content. This second wave of transformative artificial intelligence, we don't know fully what those implications are going to be. The whole way in which we make information and the basis of communication across society, like that is all going to be rewired.
At its simplest, generative AI refers to an AI tool that is generating or creating content that could be text, audio, or video. You're taking a really large data set and you're inputting a prompt, and then you're outputting something completely new that is learning from all that info and creating something to answer the prompt. We've covered AI for some time at Forbes, but on November 30th, when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, its tool that allows you to, ask for a recipe or a sonnet in the form of Shakespeare or a script in the form of, Alex as movie star, which my boss did. He also asked it to write an annual performance review for me, which I did not appreciate. When we saw everyone playing with these tools, we thought, okay, AI is really breaking into the mainstream here. It's not just something that the tech bubble cares about. And it's time to ask questions about who's really going to make money here, how real is this hype, and what will be the business in.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Hilary here, and thank you for joining us our session of Deep Dive series from our Value Investing Academy. So when you see me here at the start, so that means Kaden is happily away on a business trip to Tokyo, Japan. So tonight is going to be another short session. So I hope that you will enjoy tonight's session about generation AI. So I believe my colleague has already put up the slides. So here, earlier on you have watched the video which was nicely done by Forbes, which I think that is very informative, and also let us know that what's next after the first wave of AI. Okay, so right now, we know that when ChatGPT was launched in November 2022 last year, it actually launches an internet search war, and it has already threatened the throne seat of Google. So Google has already also announced that they also launched a ChatGPT-like program in order to rival against this ChatGPT. So why does this ChatGPT has actually breathed a new life into the internet search wars? Now let's look at the first wave of AI, which is the ranking AI that was being shown by Forbes. And we see that for the past 5 years, Google is actually the lead of the search advertisement revenue. And Microsoft only contributes a mere 5% for last year, for the year in 2021. So right now, with ChatGPT being launched, it signifies that the second wave generative AI is coming. So tonight, we'll be exploring more on what is generative AI. So other than the war between ChatGPT and also Google, actually, it also caused China to take notice. And a lot of firms in China are actually trying to create somewhat similar technology for their own. So tonight, we will look into these two companies. And here, we will explore that who will win the AI war. So this is not really say that who will win, but it's more like investigating that how they are going to win this war. Okay, so before that, we will do something a bit dry, which is the disclaimer, but this has to be done because we do this is solely to illustrate the application of the value investing methodologies and various valuation methods in the context of a real-life companies. For tonight is Google and also Baidu. And under no circumstances does any of the information provided for tonight's case study is a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any stocks. As we are curious that between these two companies, what are the percentage that they can win against ChatGPT. And also, we do not take into account of the individual characteristics, profile, and or risk appetite of a given investor. And in no event shall VIA or the author be liable to any viewers, guests, or third party for any damages of any kind arising out of the use of the content shared here. So neither Mind Kinesis Investment Private Limited, Value Investing Academy VIA, nor the authors, which is me for tonight, of the case study are operated or affiliated with any broker, dealer, or licensed financial advisors. So with the disclaimer done, it's time for us to go deep dive into the generative AI. So what is generative AI? So earlier on, the video has shared quite simply is that it involves creating a new content or data from text, music, audio, or pictures. That means they gather all this data and then they try to generate something new via machine learning algorithms or some other AI techniques like language model. So for tonight, we will explore into 3 types of generative AI. So the first one is language model. So here I give an example, which is the Google Lambda. So what is actually a language model? So a language model is actually an AI algorithm that predicts the probability of a sequence of words in a sequence. So you can see that from here at the start, this is the starting point that you type in something into the Google and then they will try to predict what are you going to say next. So you can see here there's a lot of different probabilities, and let's say for example, I sense your excitement, ask me anything. So what's next? So only from there onwards, then they will try to predict what is going to be asked next or what is the next word that is possible from your questions or from the text input. So this is roughly what is language model. Then of course from language model, it arises to chatbots. So whenever you visit a website, on the bottom right usually, there will be some chatbots that ping up and say, do you need help? And then from there when you say that maybe I need help, so I click onto it, and then they will have a list of different questions that might say, oh, what are you looking for? Or is there any inquiries I can help you? And then when you try to type in some different things that is not within their data, then they will say that, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking about. Maybe you can try some other menus within it. Sometimes it's a bit frustrating, especially when we are rushing for time to find answers and we wanted to strangle the chatbots, but we cannot do that, or we wanted to throw our laptop away, but I don't think that's a good idea since the laptop is ours, and if we throw away and it gets spoiled, the money is on us. So in short, chatbot is actually a rule-based conversational AI where they have a predetermined scripts, so they are actually followed by rules. If you're outside of the rules, they are not able to answer any of the other questions. And finally, when you combine language model and chatbots, it will arise to a conversational AI. So as if that instead of talking to a robot that is being rule-based, you are also talking to another robot, but this robot, they are able to understand what you're trying to talk and also reply to you accordingly. So how does it actually work is that, first of all, they are able to understand. Then via machine learning, they will determine that what is the right response to your question, and it will also give you a human-like format. That means it's instead of very robotic answers, they are able to give you something feels like a bit human kind of response. So some people might still be confused, like it still sounds like a robot, so what is the difference between chatbots and conversational AI? So maybe I can give a better example, like for example, Jarvis in Iron Man, which is a intelligent helper of Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. So conversational AI is something like Jarvis. So I hope that this clarifies between a conversational AI and also a chatbot. Okay, so right now here's the question is that how will this generative AI revolutionize the way we work? So earlier in our last 2 sessions where we explore about OpenAI ChatGPT, we know that it helps out in content, in customer support, e-commerce, shorten the time to do research, and also provide a simulation model to help us to better make decisions. So subsequently in this video by Analytics Insight, they actually explain in more detail what is generative AI, and there's also another hidden nugget within this video. So maybe you can watch the video over and then find out what is the hidden nugget, and I'll share with you what the hidden nugget is. So do enjoy the video by Analytics Insight.
Understanding generative AI its impacts and limitations. Artificial intelligence has endowed us with limitless possibilities. From intelligent marketing to fraud prevention and 24/7 customer support, artificial intelligence has transformed every aspect of businesses and lives. Today, it can also enable machines to use textual or visual data to create new content via what we can refer to as generative AI. What is generative AI? Generative AI refers to artificial intelligence algorithms that enable using existing content like text, audio files, or images to create new plausible content. In other words, it allows computers to abstract the underlying pattern related to the input and then use that to generate similar content. It offers immense benefits such as ensuring the generation of higher quality outputs by self-learning from every set of data, lowering the risks associated with a project, training reinforced machine learning models to be less biased, enabling depth prediction without sensors, enabling localization and regionalization of content via deepfakes, allowing robots to comprehend more abstract concepts both in simulation and the real world. With such significant benefits, generative AI can be used for distinct purposes. Identity protection. Generative AI avatars have been used to protect the identity of interviewees in news. Reports about the persecution of LGBTQ people in Russia. Image processing. It helps in intelligent upscaling of low-resolution images to high-resolution images. Film restoration. It enhances old images and old movies by upscaling them to 4K and beyond, which generates 60 frames per second instead of 23 or less, and removes noise, adds colors, and makes it sharp. Audio synthesis. Generative AI can render any computer-generated voice into one that truly sounds like human voice. Even I, the narrator of this video, is a product of generative AI. Healthcare. Generative AI can be employed for rendering prosthetic limbs, organic molecules, and other items from scratch when actuated through 3D printing, CRISPR, and other technologies. It can also enable early identification of potential malignancy to more effective treatment plans. IBM is currently using this technology to research antimicrobial peptide, AMP, to find drugs for COVID-19. As generative AI makes it possible for machines to create new content effectively, it also comes with a set of limitations. Hard to control. Some models of generative AI like GANs are unstable, as well as it is hard to control their behavior. They sometimes do not generate the expected outputs, and it's hard to figure out why. Pseudo-imagination. Generative AI algorithms still need a vast amount of training data to perform tasks. GANs cannot create entirely new things. They only combine what they know in new ways. Security. Malicious actors can use generative AI for deceitful purposes like scamming people, fraudulent activities, and create fake spammy news.
Hi, welcome back. I hope you have enjoyed the video by Analytics Insight, and I hope that maybe you have found out what is the hidden nugget from this video. Have you managed to find that out? If you managed to find it out, maybe you can type into the chat and let us know that what did you manage to find out. But in the meantime, while typing, I'll just let you know that what the hidden nugget is. The hidden nugget is actually the narrative person, the female who is talking about this video is actually made from a generative AI instead of a real person that is talking about the video. So do you find that it's really impressive? It's almost really like when I saw this video and heard it, I thought it's a real person until she introduced herself as, including me who is talking in this video is actually made from generative AI. Wow, time really flies that how fast is the technology has already advanced until now. So now let's move on to see that who are the potential rivals, because we saw that how impressive this technology is. So everyone wants to jump on board. Earlier in the first wave of the ranking AI, where Google managed to win among all the other internet search, like for example, Bing, Yahoo, maybe some other browsers, Google managed to take the lead in the first wave. So now with this second wave coming out, the generative AI, who will be able to win it and who are the potential rivals of ChatGPT, which is currently somewhat taking the lead of this second wave AI. So here, when I was reading it, I found out there's another new player called CryptoGPT. So what is this CryptoGPT as? It's actually a blockchain that is able to turn your everyday task, which is when we are using the apps in fitness, dating, games, or education, and it becomes a source of income. That means this CryptoGPT will capture the data and then package it, and then from there, when you sell it, you earn a source of income. But tonight, we are not talking about this CryptoGPT, but if you are interested, you can explore more. But this is a blockchain website. And the next one is Snapchat. Even Snapchat, they are also launching their own chatbot AI to rival ChatGPT. So we can see that this race is actually heating up. And not to mention, even Elon Musk also wanted to have something to do with OpenAI, and he has approached some of the scientists that was within this space to say that maybe we should develop something like a ChatGPT. Okay, so now we will look at some of the companies that we know of from the internet, from the news, which is Google, Baidu, and also some other Chinese companies like Alibaba. NetEase is a gaming company, so they plan to use ChatGPT-like product to have the characters within the game to interact with the players. Because usually when we play games, the characters has a predetermined script to communicate with the players. But with ChatGPT installed into the game, it is as if that the player are playing with another player, which is actually an AI. And next is JD.com, which is quite famous e-commerce website on China. And finally, Tencent, a multinational technology and entertainment company. So here, the latest news about Tencent is that they are actually establishing a team to develop a ChatGPT-like product. And they have a name for it called Hunyuan 8. And this was only released like yesterday. But tonight, we will only explore about Google and Baidu. So maybe as the time passes, there will be a lot more companies releasing that they wanted to do something that is ChatGPT-like. So first up, the first company that we are exploring is Google. Okay, so Google actually announced Google Bard when ChatGPT was being launched, and it is an AI-powered chatbot, which is to rival against the ChatGPT. And the Google Bard is actually building on Google's existing large language model known as Lambda, which we saw earlier that how Lambda actually works. This is to allow them to find information and answer questions in a human-like response. Because last time when we are looking information on Google, usually we type on the Google search and then they will list out a lot of websites. So we have to find the relevant websites to gather information, digest the information, and then to determine that what is the right information to present. But with Google Bard around, it will definitely cut short the research time and also compile all those information into an easy to digest formats for us to understand and learn about it. So this is roughly a background of what Google Bard that we know of as of today. And what are the potential advantages that Google Bard might have over ChatGPT? So first off, the data that they have is the most up-to-date and most recent. Because when I was typing in ChatGPT, I was curious that what is the latest data that you are able to provide for me? So ChatGPT actually replied that they are fed on a certain database, and from there, then they will gather the information, piece everything together, and then generate an answer. And the latest cutoff date for that data is until September 2021. So anything that is after that date, they are not able to produce the most up-to-date data. So for example, I was curious that, can you tell me more about the collapse of Terra Luna, which we have done a YouTube live a few weeks ago? And then they say that as of I know today, the Terra Luna has not collapsed yet. And then the ChatGPT mentioned a lot of the benefits of Terra Luna. So we can see that if you wanted to do the latest research, that is the hottest trend right now, I would say that maybe Google is still a much better choice compared to ChatGPT. And also, the Google Bard is also having an access to massive data gathering within Google database. And they are able to break up complex information into bite size, as we can see on the graphic here, which is an example of how Google Bard will function as in the future. And as of now, they say that it's free for now, because ChatGPT Plus is charging $20 per month for better access, faster response. And again, when I was doing the research, I found that this video is actually very entertaining and also very informative because they are comparing between ChatGPT and also Google Bard, the pros and cons between these two rival generative AI. So I was thinking that maybe this one is also another good video to share with you all to find out like which one would you choose, because they are comparing between these two as if pick your fighter and see who will win in this war. So with that, our colleague will play out the video and then you'll watch it and decide that whether do you like ChatGPT or maybe Google Bard. So please enjoy the video from Yahoo Finance.
Tech giants Google and Microsoft are going head-to-head over the future of AI. Microsoft announcing earlier this afternoon the integration of ChatGPT into its search engine. And then Google is scheduled to hold an event on chat and AI, their own plans, tomorrow. So who's going to come out on top? Yahoo Finance tech reporter Ali Garfinkel joining us. Ali, what did you think of the announcement that we've gotten from Microsoft today?
You know, I actually want to play a little bit of a game with you guys, Shauna.
You like games?
You like games?
Always
Okay,
down for them.
so I'm going to lay out the pros and cons of who's going to win here, Microsoft or Google, and you guys are going to choose your fighter. Does that sound good?
Got it.
Good.
So on Google's hand, right, before we get to Microsoft, it's important to say that Google has already announced its ChatGPT competitor. It's called Bard, and it's important that if search is the goal here, Google is still absolutely the dominant leader in search. Google has a search linguistic advantage. We don't say we're searching for something, we say we're Googling something. However, Google is already seen as behind on this. I had a source text me this morning saying Bard screams, "We rushed." And I think there's a lot of pressure on Bard to be excellent. And if it doesn't surpass ChatGPT or is at least not as good, it's going to look pretty rough on them. So that's the case for and against Google. Now, the case for Microsoft. Microsoft is absolutely seen as having a head start here because of their longstanding investment in OpenAI and the fact that they've now already announced this Bing integration. I also think that ChatGPT right now has a linguistic advantage in generative AI, right? We're saying ChatGPT, not generative AI, right? I also think that the world of applications that Microsoft can plug ChatGPT into are pretty obvious. You have the 365, you have Azure, and while Google has that, it's not as well set up of an ecosystem. Now the cons, right? If search is the goal, Bing only has 9% of the search market right now, so which puts Microsoft way behind. And it's also not really clear how much Microsoft's head start will matter. Okay, so those are the two cases. Who do you believe in?
I get to go first?
I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
Well, no question about it. For me, this is Microsoft because of ChatGPT, because of first mover advantage. Think of Tesla, why don't we? Okay, a market cap north of $600 billion, where GM and Ford are between 53 and 57 billion. They got to 100 million users in just a few months. That's faster than Instagram, faster than even TikTok. They are already changing the way we live and work. Real estate agents are already using ChatGPT to rewrite their property listings, to write legal documents. It is way ahead of the game here. This isn't about a couple of months. It is, what Ali said, several years of advantage. They made that commitment early and often with billions of dollars. And Satya Nadella said earlier today it's the most exciting thing he's seen since he became the Microsoft CEO. Your only advantage is it's a verb. Google. That's all you got.
And that is a massive advantage when you take a look at the fact that the numbers that Ali put up there, that Bing only accounts for 9% of search. Google has more than 80%. So that there gives Google a huge advantage. Yes, I would agree with you in terms of the timeline of this. Google's coming out a little bit behind their huge competitor out there, ChatGPT and Microsoft. But you can't count Google out given the past success. In the memo yesterday from CEO Sundar Pichai, he was saying that Google, you got to take a step back and think about the wins that Google has already had. And he went on to say that a lot of the technology that is being used in ChatGPT, that is being used in other AI services, was invented at Google. They have a track record. They have a history of coming out on top. They've been investing in AI now for quite some time. They're late to the chat part of it, but I think they're going to be the winner.
Our friend Laura Martin would point to you that her note suggests Google has an innovator problem and have had it for quite some time.
Hi, welcome back from another great video done by Yahoo Finance, and I hope that you have enjoyed the entertaining debate between Microsoft ChatGPT and also Google Bard. So from here, we can see that between two different people, they have two different opinions between who will become the next leader in the second wave generative AI. Even though Microsoft announced ChatGPT much more faster than Google, but Google has spent many years in the AI field to doing research and has not been released about the Google Bard for many years until when ChatGPT was released. Then they immediately launched their Bard to rival against this new ChatGPT. And I saw that there's one question from Siwan that, is it technology or marketing going to be the winner? And I'm not sure that what are you referring to, like what technology or what marketing are you referring to, Siwan, so that maybe we are better able to answer this question. So with that, I'll move on forward first while you're typing. Okay, so right now, as and when, because we are value investors, when we saw this news, we will definitely think that, is this a good company for us to invest in? Or like, should we invest it? Because since that Microsoft is investing in ChatGPT and now Google is releasing Bard, is it now a good time to invest in? But before that, we will analyze that what Alphabet as a company is, and first of all, we wanted to know that what do they sell and how they generate their revenues. So first of all, Alphabet, they have actually two main business segments, which is Google Services and also Google Cloud. So under Google Services, they have another two segments. They break down into two different segments, which is Google Advertising and also Google Other. So under advertising, it's mainly about advertising on their Google Search, their YouTube, and also different types of online channels. And for Google Other, they are actually made up of three products, which is first of all the apps, Google Play, followed by their hardwares, which is listed down here, and also the YouTube TV Premium, which is their subscriptions. So this is what Google service products and also services that they have. Whereas for Google Cloud, this is what they are offering for the public. And finally, because Alphabet actually are involved in various AI-related research, so they actually has another segment called Other Bets. So under Other Bets, these are some of the companies that they involve and invest in to research on AI-related field. So you can see here, there's autonomous driving, in healthcare related, and also different types of moonshot products. So now let's look on further, like what are the AI R&D projects that Google is currently carrying on. So from here, we can see that there's a total of about 24 AI projects that Google is involved in. And here, you can see that it's a really whole lot of lists that involve in different areas and different industries. But here, when I was going through the list, I picked out some of the lists that might be more involved, that is ChatGPT related or maybe generative AI related. So here are some of the lists that I think that is much more closely related to generative AI. And now let's look at how does Alphabet actually generate revenue. So in 2022, they actually generated about 282.8 billion. And from here, we can see that almost 80% of their revenue actually comes from Google advertising. And then about 10% comes from Google Others, which is in apps, hardware, and also content. And finally, another 10% comes from their other business segment in Google Cloud. And Other Bets only contributed a mere 0.4%. So this is overall how does Google generate their revenue as a company. So when ChatGPT was being launched, this is one of the reasons why Google actually launched a red alert, because if everyone changes from Google search to ChatGPT to look for information to generate some text-related articles, then here a lot of the revenue will be lost. Okay, so right now we will have a quick look at their financial numbers, but this is just a quick screening of the company. It does not mean that this company is a good buy or no good buy. In order to determine whether is it a good buy or not a good buy, we need to examine further about other different types of financial numbers. So for tonight, we will only look at 4 financial metrics, which is their revenue, which we saw earlier. So revenue is actually the sales that the company can generate. So the trend that we wanted to see is actually a positive and consistent uptrend. So that means that their sales are keep on growing. Next, we will look at their earnings per share. So for earnings per share, in short, it means that for every share that the investor purchase, how much of the earnings that the company can generate. So for example, if the earnings per share is 10, so that means that for every share that the investor purchased, the company is able to generate $10 of the earnings or net income. So definitely we wanted to see the trend is positive and consistent uptrend. And also we wanted to see how is their cash flow condition. So for here, we will look at their operating cash flow. So this is actually a cash flow that is generated from their normal business activities. And when the cash flow is positive, that means the cash is coming in from their business activities. But if it's a negative, that means the company is actually bleeding money in order to maintain in operation. So here, we also wanted to see that it's a positive and consistent uptrend. And finally, the last financial metrics that we wanted to see is the debt to equity ratio. So we wanted to see how is the company's long-term debt condition. Because even though, let's say the company is earning a lot of money, they are generating a lot of positive cash flow, but if the debt is very high, it is as if that a pocket has a very big hole. No matter how much money you put in, the money will definitely flow out from the hole. So for here, based on value investing methodology, we wanted to see for this ratio to be less than 0.5. So with all the basics done, so now let's jump in and look at the numbers of Google. So for Google, the revenue has been increasing year on year, which is a positive uptrend, and this is considered a tick based on value investing methodology. Next, when we look at the EPS, overall the trend is in a positive, consistent uptrend, and 4.59 means that for every one share that the investor purchased, the company is able to generate about $4.60 of earnings. And now the cash flow, operating cash flow, is also a positive, consistent uptrend. And finally, we are pleased to see that the debt to equity ratio is actually below 0.5. So overall, from a quick screening on this company, we say that this is a company that I'm interested in, and maybe I should further investigate to see that whether is this a good company to buy or not good to buy. Because even though a company is good, when it is too expensive, you have a high risk that in the event that the company is having some issues and the share price drop, you might end up losing money, which is why we say that even though here looks good, but we need to do further investigations. Okay, so next, after Google, we will look into Baidu. Okay, so Baidu also announced their own ChatGPT-like product, which is known as Ernie Bot. So here, when they announce it, their share price actually leaps 11-month high. And they say that they are currently doing some internal testing in March before it is being made public. So let's find out what we are able to gather so far until today. So what are the potential capabilities? So here in the article, it actually mentions that currently what is potential capabilities is still not known, but how they describe it actually sounds quite like ChatGPT, where they can formulate a reasonable and also coherent text. And what sets it apart is that it is able to integrate extensive knowledge with massive data and in exceptional understanding and generation capabilities, which a term that they call as conversational language modeling technology. So in short, the task that they can do is as such, which is language understanding, language generation, text-to-image generation. So from here, we can see that it's actually somewhat like ChatGPT. That means when you type it in, the AI understands what you are trying to find out, and then they try to generate the answers in a human-like response. Does this sound like ChatGPT? Okay, so now let's look at how does this conversational language model actually works. So in here, in this flow chart, we'll have a quick look at it. So for example, there's a person talking to the AI, whether by speech or maybe by text input to the AI, and then the AI try to understand what is this person talking about. And when they're trying to understand, they actually have a back-end action, which is the database that they have, and then they try to gather and then manage the answers before they generate an easy understanding answers to the person who is asking the question. So this is how conversational language model actually works in a much more simpler terms. And of course, there are much more technical terms such as semantic frame, system action policy, which we will not go in depth. We just wanted to know that the flow, how does this actually works? Okay, so now let's look at who are Ernie Bot's potential customers that was being released on the news. So here, Ernie Bot system is actually getting more appliers, including in Chinese. The reason is because ChatGPT is actually not available in China, which is why most of the Chinese firms, they're actually scrambling about and then try to create their own ChatGPT platform. So these are some of the companies that has been mentioned that they wanted to be involved in this Ernie chatbot. And also, this Yulian Cloud actually has official access to Baidu's Ernie bot in order to generate a financial AIGC. So AIGC is actually a short form known as artificial intelligence generated content, so which is here. So that means that they are actually using AI to generate financial related content to their customers. Whenever the customers want to know certain thing about the finance or something else, then they will go into this website, type it in, and then from then they will generate the related information to their customer within the shortest time. So this is roughly who are the potential customers that any bot may have. Okay, so right now we know about Google, but we don't really know what Baidu is. I only know that, okay, I heard Baidu, but what is this company doing, or what is this company about? Not many people know. So tonight we will share more about what Baidu really is. So Baidu is actually China's largest internet search engine and also the leading AI company within China, where they provide a lot of information and also knowledge-based contents to their customers, or maybe people who are searching for information. And how big is actually Baidu? So from here, the data that I got in January 2023, Baidu actually takes up about 66% of all platforms, means that the mobile platform, that means mobile phones and also PC platforms, overall they are able to take about 66% of the overall market. So we can see that how big Baidu is compared to its competitor like Sogo, Bing, or Household 360. And I don't see actually Google is in China. And also, they process all forms of this content via their AI technology known as Baidu Brain. So Baidu Brain is actually the core AI technology of Baidu, where they manage all these AI platform, which is why Baidu is now the leading AI company in China. Okay, so right now let's look at what are the products and services that Baidu has. So they have two main business segments. The first one is the Baidu Core, and then the second one is iQIYI. So what are these two? So Baidu actually involved in a lot of different types of AI-related products and also technologies. So in short, we shorten it up. Core is actually an acronym which is made of cognition, where they develop an advanced AI technologies, and also open platform where they allow developers to build their own AI-powered applications and services, and R is robotics, where they can build humanoid robots. And ecosystem is an ecosystem that allows all of the AI-powered products for various industries. So in short, this is CORE. And they have too many products that was not able to put in here. And for iQIYI, is actually an online entertainment service. So Baidu is mainly generating their revenues from these two main business segments. Okay, so earlier on we've seen Google has about 24 AI projects. How about Baidu? Baidu, for now, their major AI initiatives are in Artificial Intelligence Cloud, which is known as Baidu Cloud, but now they have recently changed their name, known as Baidu Wangpan, which is a Chinese word, Wangpan. And they're also involved in autonomous driving, which is Apollo. So you can see here on top of this diagram, over here is actually the one that is controlling the car so that it can drive autonomously. And here, Baidu Health. So whenever someone has some issue with their health and they need help, or they cannot go out from the home, they can use the Baidu Health to ask for help online, where there will be a doctor online to help them. So as if like one of the companies that we have investigated like a few months ago, Teladoc. And also they are also involved in voice recognition technology, Dual OS. So it's something like Alexa, Siri, this kind of voice recognition technology. Okay, so right now let's look at how does Baidu actually generate revenue from all these products. So in 2021, they have not released their latest financial report, so I'll be looking at their 2021. They've generated about 19.54 billion of revenue. And we can see that most of the revenue actually comes from their online marketing services. So what is actually an online marketing services? So online marketing services is actually another term for digital marketing services, which comprise all of these different services. And under this online marketing services is actually a combination of both Baidu Core and also iQIYI. So we can see that Baidu Core actually generated almost 60%, which is the lion's share of this segment. And whereas for others, Baidu Core generated about 17%, and iQIYI also generate about 18%. So we can see that actually from here others, both of these two segments, they generate about equal half within other segment. Okay, so right now let's look at some of the financial numbers of Baidu. Okay, so for revenue of Baidu, we can see that the revenue has been increasing year on year, which is something that we like to see. However, for their EPS, it's a bit choppy. So you can see that some years is very high, some years is very low. And we can see that even though overall the trend is somewhat quite flat, but since 2015, we can see that it is somewhat in a slowly downward trend. So this is something that investors should really take note, even though they might be interested in the company. And next, we will look at their operating cash flow. So we can see that since 2012 until 2018, the operating cash flow has been very good, which is an increasing uptrend. However, since 2018 onwards, it has been on a downtrend onward. So even though the overall trend, we see that it is on an upward trend, but because since 2018, it has been going on a downward trend, this is something that investors should further investigate before they decided to invest into the company. And finally, actually, we are quite pleased to see that even though their operating cash flow and EPS does not look really good as compared to Google, it is actually the debt to equity ratio is below 0.5, and they are able to manage it for the past 10 years, which is something we are pleased to see based on value investing methodology. But this is not something that we should rely on that, oh, they don't have high debt. It is also considered a good company to buy. This is just a mere screening of the companies, does not mean that it is not a good buy. Further investigation is still needed. Okay, so right now, even though we say that generative AI might be going to be the next big thing, is the next biggest hype, but then as investors, we wanted to know that are there any potential risks that we might able to sniff out from all this hype? So let's find out. So the first one is, will we be replaced from our job? Because when ChatGPT was being released, a lot of people has been saying that, oh, the next generation of AI is coming and they are going to take over our job. Is this true? Okay, so in this article from Business Insider, these are some of the 10 roles that they listed out that ChatGPT may replace our role. So here we can see what roles they are. So even though, let's say, your job is within these 10 roles, that is not something we should be afraid of. Instead, here actually they say that half of the workers think that ChatGPT can actually help them to perform better. Because earlier on when we were watching the first video, when the live started by Forbes, actually it's about 30 minutes video, and at the end there, they actually mentioned that some people actually consider that they can use ChatGPT to help them to improve their work. Even though ChatGPT can improve the efficiency of the work productivity, but does it really able to replace our job? That is something that we need to find out in the near future. Okay, so next, what should we also be aware of this uprising generative AI? Actually, it's misinformation. And also, are you able to determine the information that is being produced by the ChatGPT? Is it a real news or is it a fake news? Is it a fact or is it a fake? Okay, so here, Microsoft Bing AI actually made some factual errors where they say that the numbers that they released for the earnings on Gap, Lululemon, these public companies, actually there is some incorrect numbers. And actually when they got the numbers wrong during the demo, no one actually noticed, which is something quite scary. And this is known as a hallucination. So hallucination means that these large language models are actually simply to make things up. So that means that they don't know the answer, but then they make something make sense so that when you read it, then you say, oh, it makes sense, then I just use it at face value, which is something very dangerous. Okay, so other than Microsoft Bing AI, let's look at another example, which is quite famous now, that Google Baidu, when they showed during the demo and someone pointed out that it's a factual error and caused them to lose about $100 billion. So now let's have a look. So this is a question that they showed during the demo. So at first glance, we do not have some astronomy knowledge, or we are not astronomers, we might not have some basic knowledge, and then we will usually go Google and then search for information, and then we try to understand what they are saying and then get the information. So with Google Bard or ChatGPT around, we just type it in and they just generate the answers. So at first glance, Do you see anything that is wrong at first glance, or it's just that, oh, okay, the answers makes sense, then I'll just take it at face value, is it? But then someone who is knowledgeable in astronomy, they actually pointed out that actually this phrase is actually wrong. It's because the exoplanet pictures that was being taken was actually by this large telescope instead of JWST. So you can see that further, even though they are able to generate some answers that make sense to us, but whether is it true or not true, no one actually knows until we further investigate to determine that is this really a fact or a fake. Okay, so here Mark Cuban, American billionaire investor, he actually says that when the race between Microsoft, Google, or some other Chinese company heat up, the internet misinformation will only get worse. And he says that currently through social media, there's a lot of fake news or misinformation, but because there's humans guardrails in place, so the machines are actually in control, so will not be out of control. However, if we say that all these generative AI start to take a life of its own, then it will be quite hard for us to determine that how do they make decisions and who controls the machines. And we know that some news also released that Microsoft ChatGPT AI actually becomes unhinged, and then they have shown some weird answers or some weird responses that make us like, it seems like the ChatGPT is kind of like alive instead of like, it has some certain type of rule-based set in between. So on the news, there's a lot of different types of answers that when ChatGPT released is very funny, or maybe a bit starting to show their emotions, which is quite scary. So when I read this, it reminds me of this, Terminator. So imagine that if, let's say, they really become something like Terminator, it is something quite scary, I would say. So, okay, so all in all, to conclude, so let's look at the pros and cons for this generative AI. So first of all, it definitely can help us to increase our work productivity, as was being shown in one of the videos. And they can generate new ideas from all the database that they gathered, even though it might not be original, but then they can gather from different database, different informations, and then they try to generate something new. And also they can automate some of the mundane workload. So sometimes like data inserting where we previously need humans, right now we can easily use AI to help us to do this. And definitely some of the cons that we need to take note of is the misinformation, which is known as machine hallucination. And also, there might be a risk of replacing jobs. And also, AI chatbot unhinged. This is something that we should also take note of. Okay. So all in all, this is our research and also presentation that we have tonight about generative AI. And also, maybe you can make a conclusion that who might be able to win in this AI war based on the information that you have gathered for tonight. And usually from here onwards, I will pass this to Caden, but since he's not here, so I'll be carrying on happily. So now let's imagine that if you can turn back time and go back to the past, when Microsoft announces that they are investing into ChatGPT maker, which is OpenAI, and then 1 month later, all the AI related stocks and ETF, the stock actually surge or jump, become bullish due to this ChatGPT frenzy, and they think that it's going to be the next big thing, so they don't want to miss the ride, which caused all these stocks, ETFs, that's AI related to surge. So right now, is it a time to invest in all these stocks? Question mark. Okay, so right now, Google also announces their own AI chatbot, which is Bard, to rival against ChatGPT. So right now, the question is, would you invest in Google before the Bard's demo era? Earlier on, we've seen roughly like some of the simple financial numbers that Google has, and it looks like the company is good. And then Google is one of the leaders in the internet search. And would you want to invest in this company, or you just blindly follow the news and buy the stock? Because Google says that, okay, I'm investing into Bard AI, and they're going to be the next big thing again. So Caden always say that there are 2 key preparations to invest. The first thing is to have the knowledge. That means you need to know what to do and also what not to do. And also definitely need the cash in order to invest. So here we will show you a video that is being nicely done by our in-house production team, Susie and Irfan, where most of our graduates, after they attended our class, how they benefit and how they manage to invest in a safe and profitable manner. So do enjoy the video.
The number one obstacle that will prevent me from investing is my bad past experience. I was scammed before, so I really am traumatized about it.
I'm more concerned about the losses that I may incur without proper knowledge.
So some of my friends and family has actually lost a lot of money in investments, and that was probably like the biggest obstacle that I have to overcome in order to make my first move into putting real money into an investment.
To be honest, I made some errors in the past in stock investment as well. I just put in money without knowing. After attending the VIA course, that was the most important turning point for stocks. Yeah, after that, the portfolio just went up and up.
I decided to source for a reliable training, and I found VIA. I took up the course and I learned that, okay, there is another side of investing, that we can do this very rationally.
I remember I did not fully comprehend the concept then. In the end, I attended VIA because Caden's life experiences and achievements were convincing.
Wow, investing has improved my life, especially the unusual strategy, the cash flow option strategy that Caden taught us. And plus, we know how to scan and screen for good and cheap companies. So I've been earning premium since last year, so it's been 1.5 years. So I have very regular passive income, and it really improved my life because I have a hope of an early retirement and giving more to my family.
So investing has definitely changed and improved my life by giving me back my time freedom. So a lot of people think that investment is about money, making money, but no, it's actually not. It's about what money can do for you, and the number one thing that it has helped me is that it has brought me back my time freedom. So right now I'm semi-retired. I get to spend a lot of time with my family, kids, and friends as well, and of course I can go travel anytime I like because I don't have to worry about my finances.
By investing in right companies or stocks or whatever, I give a better chance to myself, my family, my children, a better starting line. You know, in the future they have more resources, they can do whatever they want to do.
I think what really put me to VIA was Caden.
Caden.
I attended his masterclass, I heard him speak, and I've heard other speakers speak for their own masterclasses. And Caden's humility and honesty was obvious, that this guy is not out there to get you to sign up. He's just there to show what he knows and let you learn about investing his way. So I found his honesty really, really enticing.
Well, I've heard other value investing presentations so far, and I found that Caden to be very sincere, knowledgeable, and I believe that he is teaching in a way where it is through his honest opinion and experience. So I think that is very useful coming from somebody who's you are trying to learn from. That's why I decided to go with Caden and VIA.
If you want to be financially free, learn from people who have the means. If you want to be rich, learn from the rich. Only those people can teach you these things. So I came to VIA searching for a mentor, and I think Caden is actually quite a perfect one because he gave us a mindset, and that was the most precious thing, a habit that he gave us for investing.
So in terms of investment results, in terms of ROI, is about 10 to 15% per annum.
1.5 years, I doubled my savings.
I have been investing for 3 years now, and proud to say that one of the stocks that I own is now a two-bagger. And a two-bagger means it has gained 200%, so I'm quite proud of that.
Since I started in October, November period, and by now it's about almost a year already, and I got about 29% of ROI, and I think that's fantastic considering the fixed deposit interest in Singapore. Thank you.
Hi, welcome back everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the in-house video that was being nicely done by our production team, Susie and Irfan. And from here, you were able to watch that the testimonial from our past graduates about our program. And if you're curious that what do they talk about? What are they learning about? Actually, we have a free value investing on-site masterclass here in Shenton House on 11 March on Saturday or on the 16th March on Thursday. You will be able to learn how to generate 3 sources of passive income, even though you might not know what is investing at the start. And here, Caden will actually teach you how you can able to generate these 3 sources with minimal capital. Because sometimes when people say investing, then they think that, oh, I need a lot of money to invest in order to generate more money. But here, Caden will be able to show you how you can start investing with minimal capital. And also, he will also teach you how to create a cash dispensing machine to replace your existing salary. Sounds good, right? So come and join us and find out what is this cash dispensing machine is. So I believe our colleague has already sent you the links about our upcoming on-site masterclass, which is one on a Saturday, 11 March, and another on Thursday on the 16th March. And do take note of the time that on a Saturday is in the morning, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. But from weekdays, it starts from 7 p.m. onwards to 10:30 p.m. And when you join us in our masterclass, you'll be able to get this book, Investla, for free, that is worth $33, and also one Starbucks card, coffee card, that is worth $10. That means inside it already has a value of $10. And if you are to bring your friends, like 1 or 2 friends, you'll be able to receive a $20 worth of NTUC vouchers and also a $20 worth of movie tickets. However, do take note that it's only when you bring friends, then you get this voucher. And also when you bring friends, does not mean that you bring 2 friends, you get 2 vouchers, but it's just that when you bring your friends along, you'll be able to get this voucher. That means for this one session. Your friend will also receive this book and also this Starbucks card, but you will be getting this NTUC fair price and also a movie ticket. And all of this adds up to about $43 plus a priceless training that we mentioned earlier for the 3 lists that I mentioned. The cash dispensing machine, start investing with minimal capital, and also 3 ways to generate passive income. So with all that, if you are interested to learn more, come and find out and join us, and the links are provided in the chat box. And with that, tonight is the presentation session, and I hope that you have enjoyed tonight's session. And we, Value Investing Academy, we care to make you a better investor. So thank you everyone, and have a pleasant evening.